Well, folks, here she is. A lot of time, work, and driving involved in getting this one home, but we made it finally. It needs some work, obviously. Blade's pretty bent up there. Got some hydraulic lines to replace, cylinders to repack. A few other little odd and end things. But this is a Komatsu D41A. So, get her fixed up, it ought to be a pretty nice addition to what we got going on around here. See, we got one cylinder just pouring. Got us a bucket down there catching it, so we're not just dropping it everywhere. This cylinder's leaking too, but not. This is the worst one. Those two over there, that bottom one might be leaking. This one's just seeping just a little bit. That one I don't know about. We'll have to see. But that'd be her. We're should have a few videos on this, getting it back ready. Probably one whole video just repairing the blade, because it is pretty bad, messed up. Unless somebody knows where a good blade is at for a D41, I'd just buy one instead of having to redo that one. But either way, we're going to start tackling some projects on this so we can have it for the pawn job, and once the pawn job's done, we'll probably sell it, because I don't need a dozer this big. But I got it for a good price, so I think I can make some money on it. But either way, we'll get to work on it. Alright, so our very first project here on our dozer is going to be, we got this is a throttle here. And as you can see, I got it rigged up with just a lawnmower throttle. I did that just so I could get it on the trailer this morning, because the actual throttle cable was broke. And then I went and bought a new throttle cable and then broke a bolt off where it's supposed to go into a little thing for the decelerator pedal. So I had to just throw it. Luckily I grabbed that before I left the house. Got up there and ended up having to use it, so I'm glad I grabbed it. Either way, we're going to get to work on the other thing, get the bolts welded back on there. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. But we're going to get the bolts welded back on there and get the throttle cable put in. That way we can move it around when we need to. Right now, like, I got to crank it up and I got to get down here and adjust it, because the cable's only, 16, 18 inches long there, so I can't put it nowhere where I could actually use it. So we'll get that straightened out so we can, actually move it around. That way if we need to move it to do any of the other work, we'll be able to. See, this here's the problem. It's got a little plate, the spring goes in there. Then that little plate's supposed to bolt on right there, but when I was trying to put it on, of course that bolt would break and put me in a bind. So here we are. We're gonna cut those off. We're gonna go ahead and cut both of them off. We're just gonna use some standard 1/4 inch bolts just because it's easier. Because those are some kind of metric. I don't know what they are. But we're gonna go with some 1/4 20s. Got them tacked on there. Give me some vice grip. All my tools are so scattered right now because I've been running back and forth working on a dozer. I didn't know what I was going to need, so I just carried all kind of stuff. So you see on this plate here, I bought this from Komatsu, so it was very expensive. I could have made it, but I wasn't sure exactly what it needed to look like. But on the bottom, all I had was a couple washers, because the thing that went on the bottom of the spring was another 100 something bucks, I think. So I just had some washers holding it on there, but I'm gonna try to make something similar to that holds the bottom of that spring, because I'm sure that's what it's supposed to look like. Anyway, we'll take this hole saw and we can cut us out a plug out of maybe some 3/16. Then all we gotta do is drill a bigger hole in the center. Oh yeah. Alrighty. We're gonna we gotta get a hole that big knocked out in this. And then we gotta knock the hole in the washer out a little bit bigger, so that way we'll have room to weld it. See how they kind of just welded the inside of it there. That's so the spring will sit down around it. We're gonna drill this out. Now we have to get this bored out to something similar to that one. That way we got room to weld in there. Oh yeah, no problem. Now we just gotta weld them two together. Yeah, see, we're not gonna be able to get very much of a weld in there, but gotta get something in there. There we go. Now, get those welded together. There's your part though. I'm gonna sand that back down a little bit. Make sure the spring fits over it nice and snug there. So now with that done, all I really need is, so I got this nut. I think I also need a lock nut on it. So I need to find another nut this same size here. That one right there, maybe. Would you look at that? No random bolt bucket. Come in handy again. So now we got that, and we'll use the other one for a lock nut. That way we don't have to worry about backing off there, because that's down inside this thing like that, and you can't see it at all. So take that, slide it up on there. Then our spring goes. And our stopper plate goes. And we'll thread our first nut. And then we're going to put that one on there as a lock nut. Man, that's hard to do. Pretty stout spring there. Pretty stout spring. See, and all this is for is the decelerator pedal. This spring's for. Now, since we ain't got no lock nuts, we'll just put jam nuts on it. But now, there was another part I realized was missing after the fact. It's the thing that goes on this end. It's like a little split piece, so I gotta make that too. See, this throttle cable goes up in here. I don't know how much of this y'all be able to see. You kind of right in my way right there. See, it hooks to here. I don't think y'all can even see that, but this part goes right here. But then it has to have like a little, I don't even know what you would call it. It kind of looks like that, and this bolt here would run in here, and then you'd have like a pin or another bolt that run through to capture this thing. So I got to build that because I don't have it. So we need to know how long it needs to be. Let's say approximately okay, that's all the way as far as it's gonna go there. 2.5 inches is what we're gonna go with. Now we gotta figure out what we're gonna make it out of. Because a piece off of this, which we'll have to drill us a cross hole through it, cut us a split in it, and then drill and tap the center here. So I actually did have a tap. So we're gonna cut the ends off that because they're kind of blowed out. Cut us a chunk out of it, and we'll drill and tap that. There's a center mark there. Bottomed out right there. Yeah, probably plenty of thread. Yeah, oh yeah, that's plenty. Plenty of thread there. All right. See how well that thread's on there. Oh yeah. Yeah, nearly all the way down too. Heck yeah. That'll work now. We just gotta cut it to length. Cut a slot in it. And then drill a hole through it. Here's the part we made. Gotta get threaded right on there. Threaded on there and we can lock that nut down on it. Alright, here we are. We're gonna get this, attempt to get this throttle cable put back in there. Problem is, see, I didn't take it out. See, we got this going on this side. And then we got my help here taking off hydraulic lines on this side. Maybe we can get all that took care of today. Take them bad lines off and probably pull the cylinders off. That way we can pull them apart and find out what kind of stuff we need to fix them. But first, I gotta figure out which way we need to route this throttle cable. Let's see. Yeah, it would have been nice to have been the one to take this off. That way I know how it goes back on. We'll just have to figure it out. I don't know what that is. Something to go around the hydraulic lines, it looks like. We know our bracket's there. And oh man. So I can tell on the diagram, I know it goes through this thing here. But then it's gotta come up through this hole. And that don't look like it's gonna be fun at all. I don't want to tear it up. There we go. Alright, we got that part somewhat situated. Put this bracket back on there. Either way, we'll get this. Put that back on. Now, gotta get this bracket back lined up. Alright, so we got that situated. Now we'll get around there and put the throttle lever. Alright, we got her set back up. Now we just gotta get the shifter, roll pin back in there. I got it set up on some blocks so we can get up under there to put the roll pin back in. Still ain't gonna be fun. I ain't gonna be able to see what I'm doing. The blocks really ain't high enough. We'll get it though. Somehow or another. Take all the blocks back out of there. Set that down. Get all that bolted back together. I'm gonna throw a couple bolts back in that for now, just to make sure everything's going to function properly before I go putting everything back together. Shut off that. Works. Awesome. Woo! Yeah, we just gotta find some more bolts and get the rest of it. A lot of the bolts have been out for a while, so they're really bad rusting. And they're all metric, of course. So we may just wait on that until I can get me, well, I think I got a tap. So we'll chase all them threads and make sure the bolts will thread in there nice and easy. What do y'all think? If we get done with this thing, throw a nice paint job on it, make it look good again. Maybe get some new decals to put on there. Might like a pretty nice little dozer. Needs quite a bit of work is all. Either way, we got the throttle cable back on there, so next video will probably be hydraulic cylinders or servicing. I don't know yet. We need to get the oil changed for sure. And then we need to get the hydraulic cylinders repacked, new hydraulic hoses, and then we'll change out the hydraulic fluid. But either way, if y'all hung with me this long, I appreciate y'all watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already. That way you don't miss none of my future content. And we'll see you on the next one.